the penalty for getting in the way of these guys, I mean, nearly ended Tomac's season.
Yeah, that would
That's
have been
not
terrible.
being dramatic. It literally almost ended his season. The penalty has to be so harsh that these guys are thinking 10 times about it during the main event.
JB and AC, the energy was awesome. Those two are just like really finding their groove.
4 straight overall wins.
$100,000. Adam Cianciarulla.
Checkered flag and Justin Brady. Has won 2019 Webb Moto Pro Championship.
He's gonna do it to become the oldest winner in the history of Supercross.
Welcome back, guys. The AC and JB Show, Indianapolis edition. And when we signed off last week, we were talking about Indy's a top 3 stop on the series, and it delivered once again.
It did. The conditions, I think I have the most fun watching the guys when the track gets beat up like that. I didn't necessarily love it when I was racing because some of those rhythm sections, when they get ruddy, it's kind of like a 50-50 ball at a certain point. But Triple Crown and technical conditions, I enjoyed it a lot. And we don't talk about the Indianapolis fans enough. I mean, there was probably 30,000 people in there before practice even started. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it seemed
Of course, you love our set, and I do too, but especially you. Our set for RDL in the horseshoe. JB, you were grinning ear to ear all weekend.
So you're not on my side yet? Like, you don't love it as much as me? You're just kind of like a 7 out of 10?
I like it. No, I like it.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we're not at a 10 like you are about it.
The horseshoe, we're in the horseshoe AC. We talk about it all the time. I absolutely love it.
But it is cool. Anytime we can have a set, I think our sets in general have been a lot better this year. I like the peace and quiet of the booth. I really do. But in terms of just big event feel for Race Day Live, I think the sets in and amongst the fans are super cool. And we didn't really have anybody like we had in Tampa last year. We didn't have anybody behind us doing anything crazy either. So all class Indianapolis fans, dude.
Yeah. Actually, we did 2 or 3 years ago. We had a fight behind us.
Come on.
In Indy. Yeah. Right before we went on, there was a brawl right behind us, like literally 2 minutes before we went live. And yeah, that was interesting.
Hey, I did a pretty good job being social this weekend.
You did. You're a man of the people.
Yeah.
You are. You're absolutely
Mathis had invited, we talked about this on the show last weekend, but I ended up going to St. Elmo's with Mathis, Kellen, Weege, JT, Lewis. It was like a meeting of the media minds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bummed you missed out, dude. Had a glass of wine, 12-ounce filet. It was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hate I had to miss it, but Steve, we all know he doesn't like kids. It's just a fact. So I had to skip out on dinner. I brought my 8-year-old son, and my buddy Mark was in town as well. And we went to, in my opinion, a better steakhouse in Indy, Prime 47. The man who's going to join us later on in the show, Ken Roczen, his bus driver, Dean, they joined us. And they have a thing there called the World Tour. It's kind of like the Olive Garden tour of Italy.
I was just
10 times better.
No way it's 10 times better. It's impossible.
Yeah, true. But they have a world tour. So you get 3 ounces of Wagyu from Japan, 3 ounces from Australia, and 3 ounces from the U.S. So it was good. We got some fries.
Yeah.
We got some mushrooms. It was amazing.
I did feel bad because my boy Jace, Gypsy Tales, had his movie premiere that he shot with Joe Shimoda. And he had texted us both, I don't know, sometime that afternoon, saying the premiere was happening somewhere, some movie theater at like 6:15. But I'd already been committed to this dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm friends with both Steve and Jace. Like, both of them are my boys. And I don't think there's a lot of love lost there. They've gotten into it in the past. I think it's kind of it's more surface level than it is deeply personal.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
There's respect there, I think. There's some
for
respect.
sure. But yeah, sorry, Jace. It was a good dinner. And just a great weekend in general. I love going to Indy. The hotel's good. It's a small walk. I was bird scootering back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of myself for being social, dude.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job.
Feels good.
There's something about staying downtown, being able to walk to the stadium.
It's nice.
The fans of Indy, the airport's close, all the little details, and then Triple Crown Racing. Also, we did that segment on Friday. That was fun. You got in my ear a little bit, called me out on a couple sections. Beckham wasn't too stoked. I didn't do this 3 out of the turn. So,
hey, that 3 on the tabletop, though, automatic.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
That's what happens when you have a log cabin, a Club MX, dude. You can just pull up and wreck.
Hey, this is a thing, right? I get social media tags all the time.
I know.
The log cabin is paying off and all this stuff. So keep it coming, folks. I love it.
I'm glad people enjoy it because, yeah, it feels good to bust your balls a little bit here and there. But, JB, we're going to do it a little differently on the show this week. We're going right into the Ogio Unpack.
Absolutely. Let's unpack the weekend presented by Ogio. OgioPowersports.com. Code ACJB15 for 15% off your order. Once again, I brought my 9800 full of gear last weekend. Beckham and I had our carry-ons, a 4-wheel roller. You know how I feel about that. AC's on board now with his Ogio stuff. So if you want to be like us or a lot of riders in the paddock, go to OgioPowersports.com, ACJB15 for a discount. Speaking of Jace, I mean, we have to start there. There's a lot of controversy talking about privateers and lapped riders. Let's dig into it. Look, a big issue this past weekend. Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb and Hunter Lawrence were all pretty vocal in the press conference about what needs to be done, some ideas, and I have to agree with a lot of it. Look, I'll just give my quick opinion. I don't think there's a harsh enough penalty for these lappers to even care. I just don't. I think there's a ton of repeat offenders. We talk about Vince all the time. He's a repeat offender. Personally, I had an issue. Even when we were teammates, he took me down as I was lapping him one weekend. And then obviously Kevin Rands was in the mix this weekend. And I get what they're doing. They're obviously trying to race, but they've got to be way more aware of where they are. And I'll just read it. So I got on the AMA side earlier. And here's the penalty so they have this new points penalty system, right? And it's a tiered system. If you accumulate 15 points, it'll result in an automatic 10 championship point penalty. That's the harshest penalty. Now here's the thing, Adam, is privateer guys that are getting 15th to 22nd every weekend, they don't really care that much about points.
They don't.
Look, they don't care. So now, I shouldn't say they don't care. They want to get into SMX and all that, but it's not a harsh enough penalty. Now, if Hunter Lawrence, Eli Tomac got a 10 championship point penalty, that's massive. That's millions of dollars. Now, that's the harshest. A 5-point penalty results in a warning, so nothing.
Slap on the wrist.
And then a 10-point penalty results in a last gate pick. So none of these penalties even are a hindrance to a privateer. Like if privateer gets a last gate pick, dude, they're getting 18th gate pick anyways. They're getting 21st gate pick anyways. So what's it matter? So the first thing is we could go on a tangent for 2 hours about this. But the thing that I believe has to happen, and let me know if you agree, the penalty for getting in the way of these guys, I mean, nearly ended Tomac's season.
Yeah, that's
not
terrible.
Being dramatic. It literally almost ended his season. The penalty has to be so harsh that these guys are thinking 10 times about it during the main event. Now, if that's taking their money away, taking their AMA card away for 2 weekends, or not letting them race for 2 weekends, penalizing them or fining them $5,000 or $10,000, like something so harsh, this tiered system doesn't relate at all to a privateer. It only relates to the factory guys that are actually racing for championships.
I agree with you. I think that's logical. I go back to my experience as a lapper. My last year racing, I wasn't in great form. I was probably 10 to 12 speed-wise, and I would find myself about halfway in the race. I would find myself in that 8 to 12 spot. And once I saw the blue flags, of course, not being used to being lapped, the last thing I was going to do, because I've been there, I've been at the front of the race. I've won races. I know what that's like. As soon as I saw the blue flag, everything in my head, I completely stopped focusing on my race. And I would go from 10th to 17th in 2 laps. Because as soon as I would pull off to the side and let these guys go, I would have the Kevin Morans, Kyle Chisholms of the world go right past me, which I think there's an art to it. I think I probably laid up a little bit too much, but I agree with you. Some of those battles back there, they're duking it out. They're doing everything they can, and I understand having to be completely focused on what you're doing, but there has to be more awareness. There just does. Straight up has to be more awareness. And I go back to the first thing I think about is that most of our flaggers, if not all of them, are volunteers. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the blue flag doesn't get waved enough or obvious enough, and that's difficult for those guys. But it really seems to be, and I've got nothing against Morans or Freeze or anybody, but it seems to kind of always be the same 3-4 guys, right? That's pretty fair to say?
100%. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And I've been racking my brain on how we could make this better, and I agree it starts with a harsher penalty. I think if you really want to hit them where it hurts, I think you got to deduct some if you really want to hit them where it hurts, I think you have to deduct some pay.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're getting race to race, and that's something that they're really going to think about. But I also thought, we have the green leader light on the bike, and I didn't race when we had that feature in Supercross, so I don't know if those guys can see it right there. But what if we had a light on the bike? What if we had a blue light on the motorcycle that when the leaders got within 10 seconds of you crossing the finish line or in a segment, the blue light started flashing to where you could see it? Because then it allows you to, it brings it into the scope of your awareness faster. I think just relying on flags, especially with volunteers, it's never going to be at the standard it needs to be. I think that's where I'm at. I think we need a blue light on the bike.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if anything changes because, for instance, like the Freeze incident, Hunter Lawrence literally just lapped him. So he knows he's getting lapped. He's probably seen the blue flags.
You're right.
And you're a fan of the NBA. It's literally no different. They're just pick and roll, man. These guys pick and roll. Like, they literally use the lap flags and use the main guys racing to take an advantage on whether they're battling for 17th and 18th or whatever. They use it to their advantage. And that's where I think it all goes wrong. I think most of these guys are aware of the blue flag.
And they just don't care.
They just don't care. Straight up. If you're Vince right there, how do you not, so you get lapped after the whoops by Hunter.
How don't you go outside?
Not just take a glance back or know that Eli's all over you? We've all ridden in front of Eli Tomac. You're going to hear his motorcycle.
Oh, yeah. He's coming.
Yeah, and just take a glance back or just be aware of your situation. Then, boom, he goes to the outside right there, lets him by, no problem. The alternative is, you keep racing in the main line, you drift from right to left, and you almost clean out Eli Tomac and end his season. It's just, honestly, it gets me really frustrated because you think about all the work, all the money. We're not talking hundreds of thousands. We're talking millions of dollars here that are spent and are on the line. And it's just going to be all taken away from a lap rider. And it nearly happened. It was an inch away from happening last weekend. So I don't think the blue light on the bar would matter. Okay. I think they see the blue flag. I think they're well aware of it. And they don't care because they know there's not a penalty. They're racing for a couple extra $100 to get past that guy in 14th or 18th or whatever. And I think if you hit one or two of them with a really harsh penalty and the AMA comes down on them and says, here's the deal, guys. You're not racing for 2 weekends because of what you had happen, and you're paying us $5,000. Something like that,
Yeah, I think I also think it is kind of can be. Sometimes it's blatant, like it was this weekend. But sometimes it might be hard to clearly define what is being in the way.
Yeah, but you and I could watch one and be pretty clear on. So can Ezra Lust do that? Man, I would think. But then also, no one got a penalty this weekend. So it's like, wait, what? Like, so what's it take to get a penalty here? I don't get it.
Well, I also, and there's been a lot of talk about this over the years, but if you get lapped twice, you shouldn't be on the track.
Yeah, for sure.
Period. Like, you get lapped twice, you get a black flag, you pull into the pits, and you finish. If there's 3 other guys behind you that also got lapped twice, that's just your finish. Whether it's 12th or 18th. Especially, I think this weekend's track was worst case scenario. 22 guys, 45-second lap time, ruts all over the place. It's really difficult to just get around that track and not fall over. You really got to be locked in. And, you know, often, like in the rhythm before the finish, you're kind of, most of the time you get halfway into the race and there's really only 1 or 2 spots where you can get that on off and get that next triple. So Vince in his mind is thinking, yeah, Tomac might be behind me, but if I try this different line and I rolled a 3 and Moran's and so goes by, like, it's just a risk he's not willing to take. So I think it was made worse by the track. But
I agree with that.
We have definitely reached a time in the sport where it's time to do something different with this, because you would just hate for that to be a deciding factor in the championship. That should not be the case, and there should be more action taken to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
it needs to be addressed right away.
Well,
right away.
When Moran's got in the way of Eli, that's when Hunter went by, right?
Yep.
So that was the difference potentially of Eli winning or losing the overall, which is, we all know it's 100 or 150 grand to win the race.
150
and 3 points. Eli would love 3 more points right now. There's $1 million or 1.5 million for championship. So it's just the consequence for the guys that are doing the lapping and the guys up front. The consequence is so much more than the privateers. And if a guy gets 18th instead of 16th one weekend, man, so be it. Like, so be it. You know, I probably get some flack for that, but like, yeah, right here. So Moran's goes right in the main line. He's battling Vince. They're all
right here. If you're Moran's, you got to go outside in that 90 and check up. Let them both go through.
Yep.
Period. This kind of stuff is, you've won a race, you've been up front, you've been on the podium. If you've been in that position, if you've been at the front of the race, there's nothing more frustrating to watch than something like that. You and I will be looking at, we'll be calling the race to the house, looking at our monitor. Something like that will happen, and we'll both look at each other at the same time. Like, I cannot believe this. Yeah.
Yeah. During the Moran's incident, we looked at each other with our hands up like, no way, like, get out of the way.
Yeah. And really, I mean, Moran's kind of just got past because he was going slower than Hunter. He never really pulled up and let him by. And I get it. I get it. I got respect for those guys back there. Anybody that can make a main event in the premier class on a 450, look, not everybody's going to be Eli Tomac and Hunter Lawrence, but those are some bad dudes. I respect that their ability level. Yeah, but you just, there's no excuse. You have to be more aware, and it straight up can't happen. And I think it starts with what you said. It's got to be a harsher penalty. It's got to be black and white. You get in the way of the leaders, you're not getting paid this weekend.
Yeah.
Points are a bigger deal to the privateers now with the SMX World Championship, the playoffs. I mean, that's a really good payday for those guys. So it matters more. But what? We need 3 warnings before we get to 15 points?
Yes.
3 warnings. Exactly. That could be somebody's championship, career. Yeah. I think we're on the same page.
That doesn't do anything.
Well, you're moving from 3 from the outside to all the way outside, doesn't matter.
Doesn't do anything. Once again, I think I think they've done a good job of doing this system, but the system is based on and directed towards the championship favorites and the factory guys racing up front. These penalties are somewhat harsh for the guys up front, mean nothing to the guys in the rears. Your point about the points definitely matters more now than ever to get into the playoffs. But still, I think you've got to take some money away. You got to find them.
I wonder if there's a counterpoint. Like anytime we're talking about the, like, you believe this is right, I believe this is right. I always try to think that there's two sides to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be curious, like if we had Vince Freese on this show right now, is he defending it? Do you think he's defending it, or is he just like, I'm in a race too?
He would probably say that. You know who would be a good guy to talk to is actually Moran's. Moran's pretty level-headed guy.
Yeah, articulate guy, dude.
Very articulate. He would be a great, and I don't have his number, but I'd literally want to call him right now and like get him on the pod and be like, hey, what's your counterpoint? Because I'd love to hear it.
Me too.
You and I would love to sit with these guys and be like, hey, so, okay, explain your point. And if he's going for a 15th or whatever position, it's a best career finish and this and that. And then, okay, but let's get Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb in the room and tell you what's on the line for them too. And I don't know. Look, you and I definitely aren't like a hard stance of this. It's very black and white, but I'd love to hear the rebuttal and what
it's a pretty hard stance. I'll take a hard stance on this one. I think it's wrong. I think you get in the way of the leaders. You mess up somebody's race. I think it's the wrong thing.
Yeah, I would say most things though. I'm taking a hard stance with you on this, but I don't think types of guys were just like, no, just very, irrational opinions,
right. Emotional.
Yeah. So let's talk to him the next weekend. Obviously, weekend off this one coming up, but I'd love to talk to him in Birmingham and get their opinion.
It starts with the last thing for me on this. Maybe it's a gentleman's agreement amongst the privateers. Hey, no passing on blue flags. I don't know.
That's how it used to be. For sure, it used to be.
And now it's just get in when you can back there.
Yeah, pick and roll, baby. Pick and roll.
How many times do you even see it on TV where a guy will pull up, let somebody by, and then the guy in 18th that's behind Tomac just follows his wheel and gets by whoever was in front to let him by. Mm-hmm. So I get it. It is hard to be back there and to lose those positions. It's hard, but ultimately it has to be done. There's just a right and a wrong way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Any thoughts on the privateer stuff going on now?
Like what?
Well, Jace on social media getting crushed for his no privateer stance. And I just would say this time of year gets difficult, and a lot of people are comparing it to F1 and MotoGP. Well, there's like F1, there's really no injuries, right? And if we didn't have injuries in our sport, there'd maybe be one privateer in the main every weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And I wouldn't even consider like Savachi and McElrath, those guys, privateers. But so once the injuries happen, we fill the gate with 5 to 10 privateers, and then the gap from first to, which I think is what Eli was saying in the press conference, was the post-race presser, the gap from first to now 15th is huge, where to start the year it's not that big. You think about the start of the year, Marchbanks was like right around that spot. Well, now he's inside the top 10, so it definitely grows, and I don't know what you do about that. Injuries have always been a thing. They'll continue to be a thing. The field always thins out late in the year, and it seems like that's when we start to have the most problems.
I trust your perspective on this more than mine because you truly have done it. You've done it both ways. I was a factory kid my whole life. Mm-hmm. You've done it out of the back of a pickup truck. Like, you know what that life is about. So I'll defer to you.
Well, I think just on that note, I definitely think there's a unique opportunity in our sport to grind from the bottom and try to make it to the top. And to your point, I wasn't like a full-on privateer. I definitely was a privateer, but just on lower teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me opportunities to get fill-in rides, to then prove myself on a B-level team, I guess. It's very unique in our sport. Now, you can also do that in F1. You can also do that in NASCAR. It happens all the time. When people say there's no privateers in NASCAR, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of privateer level teams there. And they're in the way. They're in the way just like privateers in our sport are in the way.
At least you can draft them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just different. Our sport's unique, man. And one of the cool things about our sport is to celebrate Joey Savacci. We've talked about him a lot over the last couple of weeks. He's considered a privateer. Now, I don't think we're talking about guys like that, though. I think we're talking about the guys, big back markers that probably shouldn't be there. Probably should have a better circle around them that, hey, man, we've gone 10 years now. That hadn't made a man. It's time.
Let's take it back to the crib, dog.
Yeah.
100%. I don't get that. There's guys out there on the track, which this is a free country. Do whatever you want with your life. That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it though, because there are guys out there that have raced over 200 supercrosses and never made a main, or like been top 5 in an LCQ before, top 8 in an LCQ. I don't get that. Like I don't get what's keeping those guys going. I really don't.
Here's another thing that we could bring up. The reason they're there, entries have been low. There's been times this season where they're lining up for the heat races in the 450 class. It's not a full 22-man gate in each heat. There's less. So every time one of these guys makes a night show, don't quote me exactly, but it's around a couple grand that they get, $1,500, let's say, something like that. So if they can just show up and circulate during qualifying and then pocket a couple grand, I mean, that's a decent job. It's a decent job. I mean, the real world is tough out there.
I guess you're right. Yeah, and I don't know.
No, but my thing
I don't want to come across. I don't want to speak like from my high horse or like it's not about that. It's just the concept of it is.
But are we paying
wild.
too much for night shows? Was what I was getting to. Are we paying too much? Like these guys, a couple grand, man. That's decent. Cole, is there anywhere we could look that up exactly how much it is to make a night show? Is that public record?
Again, do what you want. It's your life. But it is crazy.
But have a circle around you that says, all right, dog.
It's time.
Yeah, we're good.
It's time. Like you did it, dude. You did it, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's wrap this up. Let's bring on our boy Ken Roczen, Kicking It with Kenny, presented by Fox. Let's get his opinion. See what he has to say.
All right, Kenny. Fresh off Indianapolis, let's just jump right into it. Adam and I just got done talking about lapped riders. Is there any solution? Look, you've lapped a ton of guys in your day. Any solution here?
I honestly think it's just the penalty needs to be big enough to where they care. And it seems like, we need to make a living and we need to make money. So I think it has to be either a fine of some sort. I would agree with Cooper. It has to be significant enough to where the blue flag gets respected as much as possible. Other than that, I just don't know. I think it's not fair to say lappers in a whole because a lot of them are really good about it. To me, it comes down to the same couple of guys every weekend. It's like gasoline being put on the fire. You want to forget about it. You want to be cool and just continue racing, but it comes down to the same couple of guys, and it gets very frustrating.
Ultimately, it's kind of a decision on their end. Like we were talking about Vince Freese, and I don't have anything against Vince. I see him often on the same flight, talk to him about golf. Nice guy off the track, but ultimately it's a decision to remain in your race and not worry about it, right?
100%. And if everybody would just do what is right, then there are no advantages gained. You know what I mean? I mean, why is it that most of the time the outcome is that we lose any advantage that we have, if we have any, but most of the time we lose more than the lappers do, So if everybody would do the same thing and respect it, scoot over, we scoot by real quick and take it for real, then there shouldn't be any issues.
All right, let's talk about race one, man, because look, we know you're good at Indy. You're good every weekend. But dude, race one, that was unbelievable. Crazy.
It felt good. I mean, those kind of rides, like once I got to the front, it just, things were just clicking for me. Actually, not even when I got to the front. I feel like right off the bat, I put on some really good passes in the beginning of the race that were not essential, but like in a short, let's call it short, in a shorter than regular main event, you don't have much time. So anytime I can get a clear track and ride my own lines, it's the way to go. So I made some very important passes, just got to the front, and I felt really connected all weekend to my motorcycle. I think my bike worked awesome. And, that doesn't mean that you're going to go off and win, but just the connection that I had to the track and everything was spot on from the beginning. And main one, after I brought that home, I sat back and really enjoyed it, because those rides or those kind of races where you have a couple of laps towards the end, you can kind of, I don't want to call it relax, but you don't have to go to the checkered flag at 110%. Is really nice. And I was in such a flow state and just riding really well. I think I had great lines and was flowing, and it just, all that just came at the right time in that moment, right? Like I needed to do something, and starting off a Triple Crown night like that and not in the hole is a good feeling going into main two.
When you get in the flow state like that, does it feel like it takes less effort to do what you're doing?
In a sense, yeah. Just what I mean by that is more so that on the riding side of things, I feel like it comes more naturally, because sometimes I'm trying harder and I'm not having the same pace, where obviously in that main one, at least for the people that were right behind me, I know that they were battling too, and you gain and lose some time, and including myself, like I missed the rhythm lane a couple of times, and if they don't, they can suck up to your rear real quick. But for that speed, or I felt like I was, at least for the time being, there the best guy in that main one, right? But it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes I try harder and I'm not close to being there, So at this moment, everything was just going right.
So you go back to the truck, you're stoked. Yep, this is exactly what I needed. I'm down 20 points in this championship. Potentially get your 5th win in Indianapolis. Then race 2, walk us through it. You were mentioning before we went on that you slipped up a little bit on the tabletop. Your rear end kind of slipped out a little bit.
Well, and also going into main two, I felt just good about myself, first off on the riding side of things, but I feel like I was able to conserve a lot of energy in that first one. Once I had a little bit of a gap, I just didn't have to override anything until the end. So I just felt like I was able to recover well in between. And going into second main, I was all about it. After I'm not even 100% sure where I ended up on the start, but it wasn't like horrible. I was comfortable where I was at. All right, so right there on the tabletop, I spin out, right? And from this angle, it doesn't look very significant, but from the other side, it really stepped out, right? So I'm getting off the tabletop and everything's tacky. The transitions are rather short right there. And as I jump off, because right now you knew that I was making a mistake, but when you don't, it kind of can catch you off guard like that. And if we wouldn't have been bunched up right after the start like that with everybody, right in a row, it would have been completely fine. But I opted out of jumping the triple just because with how tacky it is, you do this small movement and you shoot right or left. And I didn't, I knew Prado was there, and it's a decision that you make very quickly, right? I knew I was coming up short. Everything would have been fine. And as I bounced back up, I knew AP was close, but I wanted to know what I'm getting into just to be ready to either brace. And I feel like if I wouldn't have looked back and you get caught by surprise, I feel like you can get knocked out pretty quickly right there. And yeah, it was just very violent. I felt super bad for AP. I mean, the last thing I wanted to do was take both of us out like that. He's been having a rough go, and you see everything kind of going down the drain once that happened, right? But on the positive side, as I got up, I checked everything was fine, got back going. My front was ever so slightly twisted. It didn't bother me much, but I felt like I was going pretty fast again right away and was able to catch up to 10th. And I kept kind of in touch with the leaders right there, and they weren't really gaining on me too much. So you know how it is sometimes getting back in a rhythm after a bigger crash like that. It's hard, but for that, I never gave up. It's definitely not for a lack of trying, but it just, what an opportunity that went down the drain, with the snap of a finger.
But I know it's frustrating, but racing, it just, things like that happen. Like you're going to make those little mistakes, especially on a track like that. And you really did everything you could from that point forward. and limiting the damage. Getting back to 10th, I mean, dude, you were a long way off the pack once you got going again.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I feel like I've had incidents in the past that were less big of a crash and rode worse and didn't get as far up. So yeah, I went as hard as I could till the end, and 10th it was. So it wasn't, I was so extremely bummed and honestly sad. I'm like, man, you do all this work, right? And now the way I look at it too, like we are starting to have less and less guys. And in the beginning, when everybody was there, I was so solid, making up points at times, staying close. And now just due to some little mistakes happening, you lose a lot of points, and it's going to be harder, like obviously you can't bank on those guys making any mistake. There's still a lot of racing left where that can happen, but the field has been getting a little bit thinner. So now the guys in between us are going to be a lot less. Like we're most likely going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, like probably at all times. But let's just see where it goes. This is dirt bike racing. And I guess the awesome part about all of this is the unknown, right? So I'm still keeping my head up, and I'm not going to stop charging.
Yeah, really best case scenario for you is to get Prado back healthy after the break, to get Sexton back healthy after the break. And it's actually, it gives you an opportunity to go win the race and maybe Chase is second and Prado gets a third like you did at Anaheim 1 or something like that. That's kind of what you're alluding to, right? Like
absolutely
guys in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few out right now. So that's even more of a bummer that I end up with a 5th, and these guys keep winning in 1st and 2nd. So the points difference in the last couple of weekends have just been more than it has been before. But hey, we still got 8 rounds left or so, and all this stuff has happened in the first half, and something like this can happen in the back half too, not just on my side. So I just got to make sure that I keep trying hard, make smart decisions, and put myself in good positions, especially.
I think not to just bring it up, but I also think there's something to, you always want to go into the off weekend on a good race, because when you have a bad race, it's like you want to just line up again and get it over with, get it out of your mind. But what's your plan in these couple weeks? First off weekend, I mean, everyone's tired, everybody's hurting somewhere. So what's the game plan the next couple weeks?
I'm pretty content, honestly. It's just nothing for me to worry about, right? Like I'm having a good time at the races. My team's happy. I'm happy. So there's really going to keep doing my thing. I went on a run this morning, which I just woke up motivated. And even though it's a Monday, and I'm going to keep it light here and there, but put in effort at the right times. And then, of course, having an off weekend will feel nice. Just not getting a little bit of a break from the racing stress on a week basis, like we talked about before the show, is important. And lately, we have been in Daytona, so I was able to sleep in my own bed Saturday night right away. So that, it's not an off weekend, but it kind of feels like, you're just home. So it's just all coming at the right time. I think I'm going to actually ride my 2-stroke tomorrow a little bit on the outdoor track. So just having some fun with that, I think will help me out too.
Hey, that's a good feeling on a week off, waking up Monday morning motivated.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. That's a good feeling.
No, it was good. It was a little foggy out. It was a nice change of pace. And at the same time, it'll be nice focusing on the kids a little bit too. We do a lot with them, but you know how it is in between races. Like I'm gone most of the time Thursday till Sunday. And then, Monday you're tired. Like it's not like necessarily you want to go out on the boat and do this and that. So it'll be fun just to focus on them a little bit, maybe go to the beach.
Yeah, have you been, of course, during the season, but you going to go to your beach house at all?
Yeah, I think that's our plan. I haven't been there in quite a bit. Court and the kids go out fairly often when I'm gone at the races, so I'm hoping to catch some waves. I hope there's some waves. Every time I'm gone, it's firing up there, and then when I go there, there's nothing.
Do you think that would be a good place for me to move?
Well, you know what it's like, right? I mean, I love New Smyrna too.
I really haven't spent – I stayed with a buddy of mine. I stayed with a buddy of mine that lived just outside of St. Augustine a couple times. But I really have – my sister lived up there for a couple years. I've never spent any time up there. But I have a few friends in and around the New Smyrna area, and everybody talks about St. Augustine like it's
really cool. It kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of being overseas because the town is rather old and made to look like Bavaria or Austria, you know what I mean? There's little alleyways and cool restaurants and stuff. I mean, I really enjoy it. And then the beach beach is cool in New Smyrna too. Like, obviously, I'm a beach guy and a water guy, so I love being up there. I really do. It's a nice change of pace, and you get a lot more of that beachy town vibe, right? Like, it's way different than California. Obviously, I actually enjoyed my time. It's the first time in a long time that I spent time in Temecula. But on the living side of things, like, and I've been at my house now for 10 years, and this is the first time I haven't moved around every few years, and this just feels like home. Every time I come back here, it feels like home, and then having a beach house a couple hours away is so enjoyable because you can just leave with the snap of a finger. We always had a beach house in California, but that's a 5-hour flight away. So there's a lot more planning going on, right? Like here, you can just leave on an afternoon after the kids' school and go. So I love it. You have to go out there, spend some time, but yeah, I really love it.
Isn't New Smyrna really sharky?
Shark bite capital of the world, dude. Ponce Inlet.
Yeah, I'm out, folks. I'm out.
It's like a dog bite, dude.
Oh, come on.
It is. That's what they say. I mean, they're not taking limbs, but you're getting stitches.
Really?
Like, there hasn't been a death. There hasn't been a death in Ponce Inlet. That's the surf spot in New Smyrna in a long time. It's just a little dog bite.
Dog bite, he says.
Yeah.
I've been surfing quite a bit with dolphins in the water, which is awesome by us up there. I mean, there's probably sharks somewhere too, but when you see dolphins, that's a good sign.
Yeah, they'll protect you. Dolphins are smart.
Yeah, love it. Kenny, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the weekend off. Hopefully the surf is good. We'll see you in Birmingham.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
I need to see some 2-stroke clips.
Oh, yeah. I need to take care of that. I was actually talking about maybe having Goof come out to shoot a little bit.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Oh, JB, you didn't even notice, but
I did.
Behind me, my wall got upgraded.
What is it? I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? It's we bought the We Went Fast Brayton Wins poster from Daytona.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I
love to see it. You want me to sign it for you?
It is already signed.
I
would love another one. See one in person.
I'll give
we wanted to support it and stuff, so I always look for things to hang up in the shop. So
I'll Venmo you $20 for that, Kenny.
Dude, I paid more to buy it. You gotta do better than that.
Love it. Hey, last thing, how good was the world tour? I was telling AC about it on Friday night.
Amazing. I mean, nice little steak. It always surprises me how buttery and how good that is.
Oh,
hey, Adam, did you have the shrimp cocktail from St. Elmo's?
Dude, I'm allergic to shellfish.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh really?
The 5th time I've asked you that.
That's a bummer.
It is. No, I did not. I did have a glass of wine though, and it's been a while, and I was loose, dude.
Loopy.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, it's loose on the way home.
All right, Ken. See you guys in a couple weeks.
See ya.
Yep. Later.
Bye.
Segment just seems to get better and better every week. Love how loose he is. Just 3 buddies hanging out.
Yeah, me too. And I'm glad he agreed with us over there. It's nice getting Ken's opinion on these things too, because I'm also conscious of, it's like the longer that I don't race, the longer we haven't raced, there's that chance that you could get a little disconnected from what's going on. And so Ken is good to let us know we're on the right track with these things.
And we didn't even talk to him about it before we went on. So, folks, we didn't preface that with anything. So that was straight up live. Thanks to Fox for bringing us Ken each and every week. Also, thanks to SKDA. Ken's running their kits. AC's running their kits. Hunter Lawrence looking good this past weekend. Go to skda.com to get a kit of your own. Also, Ogio. Thanks again to ogiopowersports.com. ACJB15 the code. Smartop SmartopSpaCovers.com. AC, you and I may go do some golfing with Mr. Genova soon. That'll be fun. He's a big golfer, so
I haven't played in 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. I know all of our viewers and listeners are on the edge of their seat to hear about my golf game.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been any golfing going on. But I'm going to change that this week, of course.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to get in a hot tub after you're golfing, get a spa cover from SmartopSpaCover.com. Also, firepowerparts.com. All kinds of stuff there. Chains, sprockets, batteries, wheels, stands. Pretty much everything you need to go riding. Go check them out. Firepowerparts.com. Let's get into some racing, though. AC, let's start with the 250 class first. There's a lot to get into there. Cole Davies, big talking point going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even a bigger talking point going into Indianapolis. We've talked speed. We've talked technique. This is what we've been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
Clean sweep, 1-1-1 for the overall.
Yeah, and I think that even having RC on RDL, that was a topic of discussion. And because he set such a high standard for himself, we were a little bit not worried. Like, we knew that you and I were not surprised watching that. We know that Cole Davies is a great Supercross rider, and he's going to be great for a long time. But he even said it on the podium. Like, I think he just maybe came into the year a little bit too excited, a little bit too antsy. He's definitely not lacking any confidence. I can tell you that. And the transformation on the attitude side of things, to me, is interesting to follow.
It's
I geek out on, me, like, just philosophy, how guys carry themselves. And I like watching the evolution of young riders and just their approach. And he is very, very stark contrast from last year to this year. Have you noticed that? We talked about it a little bit last week, but just super short. He looks like he expects to win. And if it's not a win, he's not into it at all, which I applaud in a way. But I kind of miss goofy, having fun Cole Davies. I hope he finds that again.
And you can have both, right? You're a perfect guy to speak on this. Look, I didn't win near as much as you did. And when you were going for championships in the 250 class week in and week out, you can be both, right? Like, you can be yourself, but also have a crazy competitive attitude where you don't like losing. Or am I off? Do you have to totally change your attitude?
There were times where I thought I had to change who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, well, this guy does it this way, and this guy does it that way. And I'm not like those guys. So maybe I need to be more like those guys. But I don't know. For me, it's like it would have taken more effort for me to not be myself and to try to come across a certain way. And what I always, I've been over the years in racing, and I've always been articulate in front of a camera. And so people would come up to me and be like, man, I wish everybody was like you. And I don't think that's the case. I applaud anybody that is themselves.
Correct.
And I think being genuine comes across on camera. Eli Tomac, perfect example. Most of his career, not into the media deal. Social media, same thing, does his own thing. But that is who he is, and you can tell. And that connects with the fans. And so however you are naturally, of course, you are trying to hack your mind, your body to be everything that you need to be a winner. And I think when you're young, Cole Davies, 18 years old, I mean, there's going to be he came in this year for the first time really in his life, and he was the heavy favorite to win this championship. And we know how the environment is at Star Racing for the most part. It's pretty hectic on a day-to-day basis. Those guys are going at it. Bobby doesn't mess around. So I can understand how he's arrived to that place where he's doesn't have time for anything but winning. But in terms of riding, it's never not going to be impressive to watch Cole Davies go through a whoop section. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It really is. I don't know how, watching him skim those whoops this weekend, I don't know how the back end doesn't step out more with how edgy they are. Same thing at Arlington. I really don't understand. I don't understand how he does it. But it's got to be a very comforting feeling knowing you have everybody handled in that section of the track. Like, if there is a big, nasty set of whoops, the stress level for him must go down so much, because we've seen it even in qualifying. We were talking about it. He is so far and away better than everyone else in the whoops, but somehow Seth Hammaker still qualifies faster. And we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at each other like, where is Seth finding this time? But right now, Cole Davies, clear advantage in the whoops. I think he could clean up. I think Seth is a little better in his turns right now. I think he's better. But dominant performance from Cole Davies, and dude, we knew that was coming.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Everything you said. He's impressive. Second place, Joe Shimoda. We've got to talk about the racecraft. Look,
Not good. Not
we
good at
hold
all.
him to a high standard. He's a super motocross world champion last year. He's a race winner, indoors and out. One of the title favorites coming into the season. But even all the way back to round one, Pierce gets around him, the red light controversy. But where he tried to attempt his pass, and now this past weekend where he's trying to attempt these passes, it's like I'm not sure if there's like that pass right there was
good.
Awesome. That was great.
Aggressive.
But there's also times when he will come inside and not all the way commit right there. That's a perfect one. Cole, back that up a little bit. So right here, he goes in and so
he went inside.
Yeah, he went inside.
He's trying to block the line.
Yep. But if you go inside, you know for sure the only option is to absolutely go for it and make the pass. Otherwise, you're going to get past. He just wasn't close enough to make that pass. Then he ends up getting passed by Cole. And that could have been the deciding factor because Joe even said, I don't know if it was after race 1 or 2, that he just needed to get a start. And if he could start ahead of Cole, he thought he could beat him. But when you're making, pass attempts like that are just a little bit too premature, could define your whole race. And that's what it did this past weekend.
You know what it looks like about, and I will walk up to Joe at Birmingham and tell him the same thing, folks. Don't worry. But it's like 80% of the time he doesn't plan his passes. He's just like, he's just riding, and he's a little faster than the guy in front, and a little opening comes up, and he's like, all right, I'll try this.
That.
Yeah. But the problem with that is if you don't, and often you won't see that in the premier class very often. But the problem with that is that pass attempt we just looked at. Then he gets past and he loses a second and a half. Right? So I think Joe, for one, so impressive what he's been able to do with the lack of bike time. Like, he really isn't any worse than he was last year. He might even be a little better, which is, to me, insane. But the passes and the racecraft are killing Joe right now. I mean, you got to have more. I say the word conviction a lot because Nick Way used that term with me often. But you got to be more decisive. You got to have more conviction in the passes.
Set it up a little bit better.
Yep.
I mean, thinking a lap ahead of time or a lap and a half ahead of time. If you can get yourself just a bike length or half a bike length closer, you could make these passes and it totally changes the season.
No doubt. Oh, it looks like Hammaker put him on a poster right there, dude. Joe looking the other way. That's brutal.
Hey, do we think it's a three horse race? Nothing against Pierce Brown, or do you think Pierce is in this thing? You think he can take it down the stretch? Obviously a little bit of a tough start this past weekend in that first main for Pierce. He goes 10-3-4. But in my opinion, man, for some reason I trust Seth so much in these situations.
Yeah, me too.
2 years ago, I never would have said that, right? But I trust Seth Hammaker so much right now with his speed during qualifying. And if we get to some tracks that don't really have any whoops, or you think about the West Coast when we started, the whoops weren't really a factor, and now
they weren't. No.
The last couple of weeks they have been a big factor for the East guys. So, yeah, we get to a track with no whoops, man, or easy whoops. So we'll have whoops pretty much every weekend. And then these showdowns, I cannot wait.
Me neither. I think that Pierce Brown, and you can say this about, it's really not that many, but he does have the ability to be a champion in this class.
No doubt. Yeah.
He does. But he hasn't really had a solid year where he got a couple wins, he got a couple podiums. And so I think he almost needs this year to kind of troubleshoot some issues. He's still just a little sloppy in areas. Like sometimes he makes mistakes. He'll kind of compound some mistakes, trying to make it back up too quick. Starts haven't been super consistent. So going up against Davies and Hammaker, both guys that Davies little less experience, but he was kind of in that title fight last year, won a couple races. So he kind of had his troubleshooting year. I think Pierce probably gets another win this season. I don't see championship. I could be wrong. I don't see championship this year, but I think he's right on schedule for where he should be. That was a massive injury. He had to go see, he got an opinion from a doctor that told him, I don't know, I think they told him, don't ride at all. Like, just wait until 2027. And he had to go to find another doctor to get an opinion to tell him that he could race. So the fact that he's out there is a bonus. But I did want to bring this up. JB, I'm hot. I'm hot over this. And I found this out a few weeks ago. And I don't know all the little nuances. I don't. I'm only going off the information that I've been told. But Pierce, and this could be a whole nother discussion. This could be a whole nother podcast, really. I'll try to keep it short. Pierce, apparently at some point this offseason, I don't know if he got hurt again or if he wasn't riding or whatever, but Star Racing, Yamaha, either stopped paying him completely or they severely docked his pay, where he was, I don't know. I've heard a lot. I haven't heard from a verified source on this. So again, guys, I could go to Star next week, talk to Bobby, and come on here and say that I'm wrong. Only going on off the information I have. But docking a rider, not paying your guy because he got hurt doing his job for your team is absolutely ridiculous. And it should never, ever happen. Ever. Nobody should be struggling to pay their bills because they broke their leg riding a dirt bike, trying to be the best they can be on a dirt bike. That might be the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. That's where I'm at. Like, look, that is just no. Like, how does that make sense? I understand if you're making $2 million and you got a 3-year deal and you tear your ACL 2 years in a row and you do like 3 races, I understand there being a clause in there for them to dock the pay, but they should be able to, whoever it is, should be able to live on whatever that is left over. I'm just very passionate about this subject. I really am. So we're all just on the bike, trying to win, trying to do what the team wants. And to get docked pay when you're hurt, I don't know. There might be more to this story. I'm happy to be wrong, happy to call myself on being wrong. If somebody reaches out to me this week, tells me something, I will come on here and be 100% straightforward. But I think that is just not it at all.
Yeah, and this isn't just a Star Yamaha thing. We're not singling them out at all.
No, this is just what I heard.
This is an industry-wide problem, though.
Yeah.
This is 100% industry-wide problem. There's never been a contract that I've signed where there's not an injury clause in it. Now, most of it is if you miss X amount % of races, you're docked to X %. But I've never been docked except for one time in my entire career. So a lot of it is just relationship driven. And sometimes I would go to the team, be like, look, I know I'm supposed to be docked, 20% or whatever, but I'd love to still go to some races, still interact, go to a sponsor function or whatever. I think there's always a way, but I'm with you. Like, I don't think it should be in any contract. Now, if you get hurt wakeboarding, you tear your ACL wakeboarding or snowboarding in December in Vail, yeah, maybe you're dock pay. But if you get hurt on the bike, and even to take it further, this is like kind of an industry-wide secret as well. A lot of these injuries, now this not with Pierce, not singling out Pierce. Mm-hmm. A lot of these injuries that happen are bike malfunctions, and then they dock you pay. Like, wait, what? Yeah, I've heard of that happening before. So it's an industry-wide problem, man. Glad you brought it up.
One thing I will say, Cowie, never had, like, my 450 contracts, no injury clause.
Yeah, one of the first, and shout out to your agent, Steve Astafin, I want to say one of the first I heard of that was Kenny's Honda deal, right? And I believe there's some contracts out there that are like that now, which I love it. I think it's great. And maybe there was some before.
Yeah.
I'm just not
and
aware of it.
I want to be, again, I just want to be clear. I mean, of course, I have nothing against like Star Yamaha. The program is amazing. And I honestly find Bobby's tactics, like the stories that Cooper Webb has said, and like I find that kind of awesome. Bobby's always been great to me every time I see him, super complimentary. I love what they're doing over there. But yeah, maybe it is more of an industry problem. And I guess maybe it touched a nerve for me because I've been, of course, we've all been hurt. We've all been there. I think there are some cases where it can be warranted. Sometimes certain things, you separate your shoulder surfing or something like that. I get it. Or if you miss a couple years, you're getting paid stupid amount of money. I get that, but no, it's just not right. It's really not.
Hey, one quick example. I was at JGR and I had an opportunity to go parachuting. I was going to parachute into this track and have a ride.
I believe they call it skydiving.
Skydiving, parachuting, same thing, right? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going skydiving. And Coach Gibbs calls me into his office. He's like, "Hey, if something happens, I can't be liable. I can't pay you." I'm like, "Oh man!" So I end up backing out, and then then it's called the Golden Knights. So they end up calling back, and they're like, "Hey, we've got literally the safest guy in town that weekend to jump. He's jumped the president. He jumped Tiger Woods. He jumped several like high-profile athletes like yourself." And so I'm like, "All right," I call Coach back. I'm like, "Hey man, I've got the safest guy basically in the world to jump me. I'm going to go for it." He's like, "Just to let you know, I can't pay you if something happens." So I ended up doing it. But yeah, a prime example is that if I come in and drill the ground and break both my legs, and don't pay me. Yeah. But if I get hurt on the motorcycle, man, because it's expensive to live. I don't think a lot of people realize being a racer, you've got to pay trainer, you've got to pay like the list goes on bills. And on. Yeah, the list goes on and on for payments. And if you're making 250 to 300 grand, it's not enough.
You have to put a lot into it.
Yeah.
Especially to say that you're doing everything you can.
Yeah.
Physio guys during the week. I think the Star trainer thing might be, I don't know. They pay Swanee too, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Like each rider has to pay Swanee as well. So it's not like some built-in thing.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something to talk about. I hope we get to a place in the sport. And I also understand the business side. I get that there's another side of this. But I just think that we're at the point now where, I don't know, nobody should be having to reach out to their buddies to pay their bills for them if they twist an ankle on the bike, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Agree. Yeah. My last thing for the 250 class, I'm going to do a Smartop surprise of the weekend. How about Devin Simonson?
So good. Wow.
Devin Simonson, 7.66 for 6th overall, was up front. At one point, it was even past halfway. He was on the podium overall.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it's such a cool story for me personally because I got to witness Devin just grinding at Club MX through the summer months of like a couple of years ago. And he didn't have a ride. He was just there to prove himself. And I'm telling you, he was grinding like he was racing every weekend. And it's 110 degrees down there, just brutal. And now they've rewarded him with a ride. The bike looks great. And the belief that he looked to have up front, that's what kind of surprised me. I don't think a 6th surprised me that much, seeing Devin ride during the week. But what surprised me was the belief that it looked like he had to stay up front.
I agree with you. He didn't look out of place.
No.
And I think he handled it really well too. When guys got around him, I'm sure he knew that he was in contention for a podium going into the last one. Would have been real easy to put it in the tough blocks. Like when you're up there and just start riding a little over your head. But I applaud the mental discipline up front to stay within himself and grind it out. I mean, this guy has come a long way. I mean, I don't know much about this guy's story at all. I mean, he's kind of been, I don't know, just kind of off in the background. Like I don't even know if we talked about him really much on our preview show before the year. But great story. It was his hometown race too. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Shout out to the team as well they've done this with a couple guys now. Done it with Cody Schock, took him to a new level. Now doing it with Simonson, trying to do it with Hunter Yoder on the West. Took a chance on Volan. Like this has become a cool story for Club MX Yamaha because they don't have the funds to go get a Cole Davies. They don't have the funds to get, even a hammock or like a championship guy, or they haven't in the past. Maybe they do now. So this is the template that they have, and they're doing the most they can with it. It's a cool story.
They are. Yeah, 250s. Last thing for me, quickly, I talked to Jalik on Friday because I don't know, his first couple of races were not very good at all. And so I knew that he re-injured his Achilles to some extent at the end of last year. I didn't know what his preparation was like, so I asked him. He said he had 9 days on the motorcycle total before the first race. He didn't completely tear his Achilles at the end of last summer, but he did it enough to where it was basically the same timeline as a full Achilles tear. So shout out to Jalik. Got a couple good starts this weekend, ran up front. Good to see some signs of life from Jalik. But that's it for me on 250s.
Yeah, that was good to see. It's cool to see him up front. Obviously, he believes he belongs up there, and his starts are back. So
back.
That was
so
cool.
Back.
450 class. I mean, look, we talked to Ken about it. That first race from him was just unbelievable. It's so fun to watch that level. But Hunter Lawrence, that last race, I mean,
clutch.
What do you even say? They get out 1-2, Hunter's first, Eli second. And if you're Hunter, you're thinking, all right, Tomac's going to be here for 12 plus 1. He's just going to be here. And the way he rode, the intensity, and the one thing that we've all kind of been a little bit critical of Hunter is his opening laps. His opening laps,
last main,
folks, not an issue in that last main.
No, you could tell. And that's what's been so cool to watch with Hunter the last few years is that you'll see a glaring weakness, and then in 6 months, it's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some of it goes back to his even-keeled persona a little bit. And this is something I struggled with in my career, that I think when you have a very critical voice in your head, like a very critical, really critical voice in your head, sometimes it's difficult to be honest with yourself about your weaknesses. I could be so mean to myself in my head. Sometimes, in hindsight's 20/20. But I could be so mean to myself in my head that there's a degree in which that I would avoid looking into my deep, glaring weaknesses. Not totally. I wanted to come across like, of course I knew my weaknesses and I worked on it. But I think that the even-keeled approach, taking the emotion out of it, I think there's something to that. Being able to be completely honest with yourself about where you're at and then go to work on fixing it. Instead of just getting hung up on, I shouldn't be this slow. I shouldn't be this slow in the opening laps. Like, I should be better than this. Or it's hard to be honest with yourself when you have that mean voice inside your head. So I think his even keel approach is helpful when it comes to fixing these mistakes. Because think back to Anaheim 1, dude. His ride at A1. Couldn't get by Anderson the whole time.
The whole time. And and just what he's been able to do since, I don't know. It's a cool story. But who do you trust more now coming down the stretch? Hunter or Eli? Yeah. I mean, it's a great question.
I've been asking myself this question for a few weeks now. And it's so hard not to bet on Tomac because he's been there. He's good in every condition. He's great at the last 2 races, and it looks like this thing is going to be pretty tight towards the end. He's great at elevation, knows how the bike works there. Denver, Salt Lake. I don't know. That's a tough call. But I don't know. It's a 2-horse race, I think, now.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, those guys are still in it, and we had Kenny on. Things happen in racing. It takes one first turn crash where the triple clamps get bent and, Tomac or Hunter get 14th, and then the guys are back in it. Like something like that could happen. But these guys have kind of distanced themselves now. I am excited to get Prado's back now, which is great. Stoked to see him racing. I'm excited to get Chase back as well. I think he's going to shake some things up a little bit. Everything that I was hearing over there before he had that crash, stopped racing, everything I was hearing was that they were finding good things on the bike and it was coming around. And I did see Chase start to get a little better. I'm really not trying to fly the Cowie flag right now at all. This is honest, genuine thoughts. Because like you said, right now it's those four. It's Eli, it's Hunter, it's Cooper Webb, and Ken Roczen. And we had Jay Coop. We got to mention Jay Coop's unbelievable second main, passing Eli Tomac. So there are guys that can, every once in a while, if things are going great, get up there and get in between them. But on a regular basis, Chase has that potential to kind of get in between and sway some points.
You know, on that topic, you know what kind of bums me out is, like, I like Chase a lot. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of time with him at the Honda track back in the day, and you know him better than I do. But I really like Chase Sexton as a person. I wish there was a little more transparency, though.
Yeah, me too.
Like, do a social media post, you know, because we can't really trust the PRs from the manufacturers because, you know, you can't really trust those at all. But a specific video from Chase saying, hey, guys, I had a crash and this happened or whatever. As a fan, I would love to just see. I just want an update because do you know anything? And you're as connected as anybody, that group.
I know that he had a big – I mean, I know what everyone else knows.
That's what I mean. You don't know anything more, right? Which is not much.
No, I haven't asked either.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would tell me if I asked. But, yeah, especially because it makes you think – it does make you think when there's a lack of transparency and with how durable Chase has been. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like he has a broken wrist, or it makes you think that maybe he could have been racing already. But if he came on and he just gave us the lowdown, hey, I could race, but I have a tough time holding on, or my hip swells up or something, at least it just takes the guesswork out of it. Because I think that whole program right now, people are just probably assuming the worst.
Yeah,
he did it in outdoor. The reason why, I mean, think back to the start of outdoors last year. It's KTM crashes at Fox Raceway, and then there were some problems with the team there, and he wasn't racing, and we didn't know if it was because of injury or something else. It's because of things like that now, like transparency is kind of a necessity at this point. You don't want people assuming the worst.
Yeah, you want to take any irrational speculation out of it.
Yeah.
But that's where we all go.
I also get the I don't know these people anything. I get that mentality too. Like, think about it. The world's been coming down on him. The world's been coming down on him recently you could say for good reason.
Yeah.
But from his experience, he's probably like, screw these people. Like, I don't owe them anything. I get arriving to that place. I mean, you know how emotionally taxing this whole thing is. I understand arriving there. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I think he should be more transparent about it. I think that's the right thing to do. All I'm saying is that I can understand how he arrived there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as well. I didn't think about that before you said, but I could see that. But also think I think he could be swayed.
No, you're right.
Sponsors that are paying him millions of dollars, and he's got thousands and thousands of fans out there. One of the biggest stars of our sport. Man, a 30-second clip, just a quick one of had a big crash. This happened, that happened. I'm sore. I'm going to try to be back as soon as I can. Here's the timeline.
Right.
I would love it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right with what you're saying. I'm just giving you probably what I would think would be the other side of that.
Yeah, because it's better with him in there, man. Even for us on Race Day Live, the laps that he can do in qualifying, the anticipation of him being his best self. Think of A2 in San Diego. Like, he was so good. He's so fun to watch ride. I'm just a fan now, speaking on wanting him there.
Yeah, me too.
The sport's better when he's there. So
you're right. You're right.
How about the Cooper Webb and Justin Cooper battle late in Main 3? that was for the overall podium. It got a little tense.
It did. And that has happened multiple times. I've watched that dynamic before. And I find it interesting that they still bro down. Because it does not look on track. It does not look like there's any love lost at all.
100%.
No.
100%. Yeah. Does Cooper Webb, that is, does he just big brother him? That's what it seems like.
I think he probably does big bro him a little bit.
But he's just like, nah, man, not yet.
Yeah, you're not beating me.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
Well, I know that because Kenny's done that to me before. No doubt about it. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Little bro me so hard. But, yeah, I was kind of interested. I think it was the first main when Coop went to the outside in that long rhythm section when I think Eli had passed him. And then Eli and Hunter got around him at the same time. I don't think I've ever seen Coop so passive before. He got passed by those guys, and he kind of just – most of the time it's like a quick strike back or he finds a way to stay in it. In that first main, he was just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not beating these dudes tonight.
It looked to me like he had arm pump so bad he couldn't even do anything.
Oh, yeah, that's what – he did say that. He did say that. All right, so I'm wrong, folks. It's arm pump.
He said that?
He did. You said that, and I remembered that he was talking about in the first main he had debilitating arm pump. And if anybody's going to have sympathy for that, it's your boy.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So I'm wrong there. He's not passive. He's just struggling with arm pump. I get that. It's an easy track to get arm pump on because you got to stiffen the motorcycle up so much so you don't do a front flip when you're doing the triple. But then it gets rough too. And all the braking bumps, everything's so tacky. So you stiffen it up, and then it's just like coming into every turn.
And it's maybe Coop's weakest part of his game is that full-on sprint speed, high intensity, having to hit stuff hard. The outsides of the berms are still fast, and you've got these guys all over you. So it's a difficult position to be in. And then the belief that he has and knowing he was 20 down, like pressure was on.
Yeah.
Pressure was on.
Definitely
got to him in the first one, but he looked better in the second and third one.
Yep.
For sure.
And he's still fighting, doing everything he can. I mean, I think it's a respectable defense of the title so far. Didn't start off the season like he wanted to, but he's been riding really good. You can't fault his riding. Can't fault his effort. I heard you're working with him this week. Is that true? I think he said that.
I'm going to go work with Brayton on some whoop stuff, which will be cool. And
did he say that?
I think so, yeah.
He's in North Carolina this week. We're going to hang out a little bit.
You're always so tight-lipped with this. I respect it. Professional. I like it. I like it.
Dude, what can I help him with? I mean, look, the guy's a 3-time champ. He knows what he's doing.
Well, dude, you've been doing this. You were a pro long before Cooper Webb's parents even met. So you got to trust it. You got to trust that experience.
It's crazy to think 76 San Jose was where it all started.
Oh, it's crazy to me that, like, who can really say that they battled Marty Tripes and Eli Tomac? True.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's super tight.
Ozx Open, Jet was there, one of my last races. So, I mean, from Tripes and RJ, Glover, Ward to Jet. It's crazy.
I also want to let people know, I see some comments sometimes. Like the whole me busting your balls thing, that is not for like to make the podcast more funny or something. This is a dynamic that just stays all the time.
This is
on air, off air. It's just what we do, dude.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great
Love
job.
It. Keep it coming.
That's pretty much it for me, dude. I wanted to do a little shorter show this week. I feel like we've been getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, sometimes. That's right. About some fan questions, Cole, what do we have this week?
So let's start out with on X, someone says, I think Davies sort of showed that you guys don't really make sense.
Yeah, I saw that one. And I was like,
these people, dude.
Wait, this is exactly our point. This was why we were critical on him. Because the expectation is this. Like we think this is the Cole Davies that could and should be there every weekend, which is what he believes and the team believes. And I feel like we all believe. So I don't really understand where we're wrong on this. But
well, where we're wrong is that some people, especially people on the internet, the loud ones, they think in black and white in absolute terms. They're unable to decipher nuance at all. And they think we were being critical of Cole because we expected more. So that means that we think Cole is somehow not capable of winning races anymore. That's exactly what it is, JB.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So next up, has Hunter really made the next step, or will he be shadowed by his brother again when he returns?
I feel like this has happened a couple times where Jet's not racing and we the level is high and we start to get a little worried. Maybe Jet is going to lose a step and then he comes back and it's like, dude, what were we ever even stressing about? I feel like that's happened a couple times. But you can only go so fast around a track. There is a limit. And I definitely think Hunter's closed the gap. Definitely think he's closed the gap. Because he is never, from a mental standpoint, what I find the most impressive about the whole deal is how he is just a championship guy all of a sudden. And it's just, this is just what we do. There's no surprise. There's no overreaction. It's just, this is what I do now. So I think he's probably closed the gap a little bit, JB.
Yeah, I think as well. We have to look at the playoffs. Hunter was as good, almost won. Jet was, of course, better. He could turn it on at any time during those races. But there is something about evolution in every sport. Hunter's definitely better now than he was 12 months ago. He's definitely better now than he was 6 months ago. And has Jet gotten better being injured? Probably not. Maybe. Sometimes you do come back more fired up and eager to.
It could extend his career. I can tell you that. Yeah.
I think he's closer for sure. There is a chance though that Jet comes back and we're just all like, oh my god.
Well, that's what I was going to say. To me, Jet has done enough in his career to where I need to see it. I need to see it before I doubt it.
Yeah.
To me, Jet's the guy. Jet's the gold standard.
Yeah.
And if he's not, then okay. Then I need to see it over the course of a championship. I'm just going to assume that he's the guy still because of what he's done. I think he's kind of earned that title in my mind anyway.
It's also why Hunter's as good as he is, though, as well. He sees that level every single day.
Yep.
So he's actually got the advantage over everyone else, and that's how both of them are so good. They push each other.
All right, so last one, because we do have a lot of questions just about the lapper situation, which you guys touched on, but this one is related. So the video footage of Freeze cross-jumping in front of Tomac, is this intentional, or does the dirt throw a bike around? How can riders seem to be so oblivious to the racing around them? I think there should be a slow line that is mandatory for lapped riders. And so I've got the footage pulled up right here.
I don't think Vince intentionally went from right to left. Now there's ruts like crazy. He started on the right. The race line did drift a little left. Tomac did go a little bit right, but it just should have never got to that point. It should have never got to that point. There was a straightaway, the mechanics area, before you get there.
Well,
you've got to let him by on the straightaway. You've got to look back. All right, Hunter goes by. All right, there's guys around, right? You just pull up a little bit. Eli goes right by. It's never an issue.
Yeah, you either go outside if you're Vince right there in the 90, lay up enough, get Tomac to go by, then you can still get on off that and still do the rhythm. Or if you're locked into that inside, you get onto the tabletop, you jump off the tabletop on the far right, you hug the tough blocks, and you go double.
Yep.
And that way at least in the race for him, he's still protecting the inside if there's somebody right behind Tomac. Nobody else is going to pass him. But then you let Tomac by, you don't have to worry about it. He wasn't, Tomac's there, I'm going to jump from the right to the left. That was the line. You were opening up the radius for the turn. But yeah, you gotta be more aware than that. You gotta roll.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for questions because we have a lot just talking about the lapper incidents.
Yeah. Good show. Good show. Once again, thank you so much for the support from SKDA, from Ogio, Smartop, and Firepower. And always great to have Ken on. Thanks to Fox for bringing them to us. Weekend off, AC. What are you doing?
Weekend off. That's a great question. My lady works this weekend. It's bad timing. So I think I'm going to do a combination of ride my dirt bike and play golf. I'm not quite sure with who, where, what yet. But I will say this year in general, I have a much better, I know what I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to plan, I know how to kind of plan things out. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm going to take the weekend to unplug from dirt bikes a little bit. I'm going to come back fired up for Birmingham. We're going to take it to 11, dude. I echo what you say. Thank you to all our partners. Means a lot. We appreciate it. We have fun doing this. Thank you to all you guys, all our listeners, all our viewers. You guys are the reason why we get to do this as a job. So we appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys.